Just pop it on in there. Welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo, and today we are embarking on a brand new project, something I've been wanting to put together for a very long time. We're going to get the Aston Martin V12 engine that I got from a buddy years ago and put it into the perfect project car and build a killer grand touring monster. But first, before we set out and hit the road, we got to fuel the truck up. We got to fuel ourselves up. We've got some pizza here. You know how we do it on Stay Tuned. Russo got this Insano cheesesteak slice, which sounds like just a whole lot of everything. I've got a meatball roll and a regular, proper, old school, plain piece of pizza. That's how I like it. Basic, simple, beautiful. Let's rock. Got it. Meatballs, cheese, pizza sauce. Beautiful.
Meatball roll sounds amazing.
It is good. So this is where our projects go to sit and wait till we eventually get them over to the main shop and start working on them. We've got the Lotus. This is my Demon. 240SX drift car that needs to come alive. 55 Chevy, that's the last thing I picked up. My Street Freak Firebird. Click the link to head over to the Stay Tuned merch store. We just came out with a brand new Cyclone shirt, and you can grab them while they last. Head over now. 80's time capsule with a blower on it and a stroker. Pontiac motor that's run 1080. Love that thing. Cutlass. And my RX7, which has got a small block in it. Kind of feels weird to go buy another project car, but that's how we do it. The most exciting car you're gonna buy is the next one, right? So here we go. This is the deal. This is a 5.9 liter all aluminum V12 engine from an Aston Martin. My buddy Mike Knapp just said one day, hey, do you need a V12? I got one laying around, you can come get it. You can have it. Mike Knapp is one of the owners of Englishtown Raceway Park, a dude who has been a supporter of mine for a very long time, helped us start allowed us to start the first drift events at his facility about 20 years ago. Just an awesome, awesome dude. And had an Aston Martin V12 laying around, we'll talk about why later, and said, grab this and put it in something. It's just sitting here collecting dust. And I've had it about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and it's time to finally do something with it. I'm gonna get some basic measurements on this thing, but here is the story of it. It's a 5.9 liter quad cam V12. Sounds insanity. I think it, with like, you know, a proper tune and some headers and stuff, it should make around 400 horsepower. QuickTime makes a bell housing for it, so it's gonna be T56, 6-speed, manual. It's going to be the greatest. We've got to put it in something, and we're not putting anything right here because I've got a little bit better idea how it's gonna fit. So let's hit the road and talk about it. As you can see, here's a hint for you guys that know domestics real well. See that font? It looks familiar, right? See that yellow? This was in the Ford family 25 years ago when they were building these things. So I think we got to find ourselves a Ford. And if you look out here, there's not really any Fords. I've got a plan. I think it's going to be the perfect car. So let's hit the road and we'll talk about it on the way. And this is the story of my V12 project. It came just out of the blue. I'm good buddies with a guy named Mike Knapp. He's one of the owners of Englishtown Raceway Park. He's actually the reason I think I have any kind of a career in the automotive world. When we were kids, when we were like 20, we went to him and said, hey, we want to do this thing called drifting. It's from Japan. It's like sliding cars around. It's really cool. And then we showed him a VHS tape, and he didn't throw us out of the building. He immediately said, yes, this looks reckless and awesome. Let's do it. Let's do 6 or 10 the first year, whatever we did. And he made it happen for us. And sort of the rest is history on that. He's been a big supporter of me forever. And back in the day, his dad had recently passed away when he had taken over E-Town when we came to see him about drifting. But his dad was a big hot rod builder and was connected to Ford in the late 90s. And they were sending him all of these takeout motors from different prototype projects. So I think he got some early 4-valve V8s. He had a crazy Jaguar motor that's like a supercharged inline 6. A lot of different wild motors. And he would put them into Model A's and old Fords and all sorts of different stuff. and he had one V12 Aston Martin motor laying around that Ford had dropped off. And, you know, it sat there for years and years, and he knows that we like to build wild projects, and he said, hey, do you want this thing? And when someone offers you an Aston Martin V12 for free, you say, yes, I'm on my way. So I ran over and tried to understand the deal with it, and the specs, and what year it was from, and everything. As far as I can tell, it's like a 1999 to 03 Aston Martin 5.9 liter, all aluminum, 4-valve, 5.9 liter V12, which will sound insane. In the Aston Martin chassis, they made 380 horsepower, and I think with a little bit more tuning, you know, free-flowing exhaust and intake, that'll be a solid 400 horsepower, and it will shriek like a Formula One car. It's going to be the raddest sounding car of all time. I cannot wait to hear it. This is going to be like probably the most anticipated thing we finally get to fire up in here, because if you've ever listened to an Aston Martin V12, they sound incredible. The only thing we have to do now is figure out exactly what car to put it in. When thinking about what car I want to put this V12 into, I always think, first off, Ford, because at the time, Ford and Aston were all part of the same ownership group. You know, you can see on this engine, the filler cap is from a Ford, and the TPSs are from a Ford. And there's a lot of, I think even the throttle bodies are from Mustangs. Like, it's a lot of Ford stuff on there. Whatever they could put on there to make development costs lower, that's what they did. So it really feels like if it has an American cousin, it's a Ford. And I've always been thinking GT cars. So if you know anything about Aston Martins, and if you don't, no big deal if you're just like a hardcore muscle car fan. It's basically like a big grand touring British powerhouse. It's the kind of car fits two adults happily. You can throw it up on the highway and dial it up to triple-digit speeds and sit there happily. You can rip around in back roads. It handles well. It's got room for like a weekend trip. It's a grand tour. You can take it anywhere. It's awesome. They're really wicked, awesome cars. I can't afford an Aston Martin, but with this engine, I can kind of build my own American version of it. And that's our plan right here. And I've been searching the Fords mostly. I did dance around a couple different ideas. I looked at MK3 Supras or SC300s, thinking big car, handles well, has room, has a big engine bay because this V12 is pretty sizable. What else? I looked at some old Thunderbird, and then I kind of dialed in the Fords, and I kind of went between these three cars. Lincoln Mark 7, Thunderbird Turbo Coupe, so 83 to 89. 83 to 89 Thunderbirds, and Foxbody Mustangs. And that's sort of been the dance. And I really just said, let me see what I can figure out. I like the Thunderbird for a couple reasons. When I was a kid in high school, my Aunt Linda, shout out to Aunt Linda, gave me as a hand-me-down an 83 V6 base level Thunderbird, you know, LX or whatever it was called. 3.8 liter, screaming 145 horsepower. But to me, it was pretty cool. Big two-door car. I drove it to school. It handled pretty well. I would wring that 3.8 liters neck constantly. And if I got it to downshift just right, coming out of a turn, of right turns only, it would slide the back end out and I could catch it. And it was the best. So I was really leaning in that direction, and I found one, an 88 Turbo Coupe. Turbo Coupes have the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder. Later ones are intercooled. They make, you know, between 150 and 185 horsepower or so stock, but you can boost them way up. And they're super cool cars, but I wanted a Turbo Coupe because I think it has better seats. A lot of them are manual. It has cool scoops in the hood. It has a little bit more body cladding. It's just a much cooler, it's got cooler looking wheels. Like it's got an 8.8 in it. It's a really cool car. And these are all Fox bodies. Everything I mentioned is a Fox body platform. And we found one. And the deal is it's $3,000, maroon, automatic turbo coupe, and it's really pretty decent car. And at the same time, I found an 88 LX Mustang roller only, but clean, looks good with some wheels on it, clean interior, was already manual. And I've been dancing between those two cars and teasing Barb because Barb's a big Mustang guy. He doesn't act like it, but not too far under the surface. Barb is a big Mustang guy. He's had several of them, and he really wants us to get the Mustang. So it's between the Thunderbird and the Mustang. We are in the truck. I've got cash in here, and we're gonna go pick it up right now. Well, we've got to drive an hour, but for you, it'll be like right now. And this is what we picked. This is the car we're gonna jam that V12 into. It's a 1989 Mustang LX 5.0. So it came with the 8.8 rear. It had the cool interior, the cool seats, 5-speed car. It's maroon with gray interior. Easily beside the seats and the gauges, it looks very complete. We'll look under the hood. This is Keith. This is his car. Yeah, come on. Nice to meet you.
I do.
So you had the car for a while?
Yeah, I had it for a little while. When I bought it, it was a running and driving car.
Okay.
It did have shock tower rust when I did buy it, so I pulled everything out because I wanted to repair it.
It's pretty common to have that shock tower rust.
I wanted to have a nice little street car. I wanted to have something nice. So
cool.
The motor came out, something else was going to go in. Plans change, life happens.
Of course. Yeah, yeah. You got into Hondas. I see it.
Yeah, a little something.
Cool. But you did this repair?
Yes, I did repair.
And this one's solid?
This one is solid.
Very common Foxbody shock tower rust, so I was expecting it. It's nice that it's already been repaired.
I'd want it to be as straight
nice
people as possible.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Oh, for sure, yeah. You've told me basically everything. There's no wiring in the car?
No, there's no wiring. Because when I had everything out, I had the dash out as well, because I was going to do like a painless setup and everything, just redo the whole car. And when somebody came to purchase the motor, they made me an offer on the harness. And at the time, I was just like, I don't need it, because I'm doing my own thing. So I was like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Okay, cool. But there are brakes on it?
Brakes, all the lines are intact. Still has the e-brake, still has the pedal.
And you sold the seats?
I sold the seats.
Okay, that's all right.
It was gonna get run-of-the-mill Jegs plastic buckets.
Oh, I got it. You're gonna make it like a street strip car?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Start somewhere and then see how it might. Still has the fuel lines that go all the way to the back. Obviously,
the racks in there. All that stuff looks solid.
Up and down.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Only so there's no leaks in the. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Yeah, rails look great. I have to make our own trans cross member anyway. Let's see. Very solid. Rockers look great. Still got the Flow Masters on it from back in the day. All right, cool. Let's make a deal. Yeah, it looks good.
Obviously, original, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wish he had left it alone, but the maroon grew on me.
Yeah. It's not bad though. It doesn't look bad. Yeah. Ready?
He's about to have one.
Yeah, perfect. Nice and easy.
First Mustang ever.
This is my first Mustang ever.
For sure.
Okay. All right, she's all loaded up. I appreciate it, man. Nice meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, dude. We said about this in gear. He's stuck in the power crowd. So, awesome. Very cool, man. Maybe we'll get to bring it by sometime. If I bring it by to E-Town, which I was going to do last weekend, I'll cruise over.
I'm really happy to see that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll text you. All right, let's hit it. We got the long trek back to Pennsylvania. Yeah, yeah. Let's hit the road. Okay, so I made a deal with Keith for this sweet 1988 Mustang Fastback LX 5-liter roller. I paid $2,800, which is quite a bit, but it's nice and clean. Interior is solid. There's no real rust repair to be done, and we can just about start working on it, which is awesome. He had it listed for $3,000. He said he had a couple of guys that were going to come over the weekend. That's in a few days from now. So we just jumped in, first come, first serve. And here we are rocking and rolling. Also, he did say he was a big fan of the Cyclone and the Power Crowd and the channel, which is awesome. So we brought him some shirts and a hat and stuff. And he was a super cool dude. And I told him next time if we're out here with the power crowd, I'll give him a ride. You know, hoping to bring it to E-Town one of these days soon. So we are on our way back to Pennsylvania. The car is all strapped down. You know, I'm having a good time just looking at it back there. The LX model has less of the kind of intense 80s ground effects than the GT. And I think they really kind of, the design, like, aged better. You know, I think it looks really clean and cool now, especially with the fastback and the 5-liter with the, you know, the V8 pipes. It doesn't look plain, it just looks, it looks really cool, and it has a maroon paint job on it. It feels a little bit more classy, a little bit more V12-like, a little bit more Grand Tourer, so I like all these things so far. What I don't like, the seats are gone. Stock Mustang GT or LX, any of the 5-liter seats are pretty awesome, but we'll have to get our hands on some older Caros or something from the 80s. Some kind of nice, cool street seat, and it has basically no wiring in it, but we'll just have to do a whole chassis harness, which is totally fine. There's not a lot going on in this car. We're gonna need something totally different to run that V12 anyway. So here we go. Tally ho, we're heading home.
Yep, hit it.
All right, it's time to show Barb the Foxbody that we bought. So we can get ready and get into this V12 swap. It was really Team Mustang. With, you know, we're between the Thunderbird or the Mustang. Both great candidates, both Foxbody chassis. So we'll have about the same space for the engine swap. And it's time. You ready to look at this thing? There she is. There it is.
Yeah. Let's go.
Look at it. Barb's a not so closeted Mustang guy. Yeah, have a look at her. Definitely good and bad.
I don't know, I see a bunch of good here.
There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good. The paint is, somebody did like a weird maroon paint job over the factory bright red. I'm sure you know what the code is or whatever, the name of the color. But, but it looks decent. I don't think we do much to the body. Clean the headlights. We got a spoiler for it.
Yeah.
There's not like a stitch of wiring anywhere in the car. No seats, no wiring. No gauge cluster, yeah.
Got it. Dang, some old ROH.
Well, you can see, like, look, rockers are perfect.
Yeah.
Floors are perfect except for one little spot right at the driver's heel. Generally a great little car.
That's great. Good find.
Yeah, solid. I mean, it's a little extra, a little more than I like to pay for a shell, but, you know.
Foxbody Mustang.
In this economy,
Original
what are you
5.0
going to do?
car?
Yeah, 5.0 LX, 5-speed.
Yeah,
I like the LX too because it doesn't have all the giant cladding on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see about fitting this V12 in this bad boy.
We got a Mustang.
Yeah, we do. It's the first Mustang I've ever owned, proudly.
Really?
Yeah, I run a Mustang. Come on, son.
That's good.
Okay, it is a late and cold night. Let me use my breath a little bit. At Shop 2, this is where we keep all the extraneous project cars and motors and stuff. We want to free this V12 from its little tomb there. We've got our small block Chevy equipped Mazda RX7. It has this Holley 750 double pumper on it. It had an 850. We sold that for the Polara. I'm going to hook this up. We haven't gotten it running ever with this carburetor because we didn't have the fuel log last time. Yeah, we're out again. So I think when we sold the carburetor, we did a little bit too good of a job. We took all the hoses and all the fittings and basically everything we needed. There's no way to connect the throttle cable. We'll deal with that in a minute. But I'm going to put on this return spring connector with its big grommet that spins happily. Happily enough. I've got these guys. These are the fuel washers. And for some reason, when we originally did this in the Firebird, we used this fuel lock, which is rated to like 2,000 horsepower to run it without a supercharger. But whatever, here it is. We're gonna keep rocking with this. This goes here. First, I'm gonna pull this little vacuum cap off so I can get a vacuum source for our Turbo 350 shift modulator. There she goes. This little tweak. One more, second tweak. That sits down happily there. All right. I'm going to pull off those factory fittings. This wonderful car. Yeah, this is a 1986 Mazda RX-7 that I was convinced it was a turbo model, which means it's better suspension, better interior, better rear end on it. It turns out it wasn't, and someone had already set it up for a small block, and I was gonna like try to find a cool rotary, put it together, put it in here, and I realized just what a mess this car is after noticing a lot of dents in the roof and stuff, and just decided I'll just shove a small block back in it and hit the streets with it one day. It's run pretty good. We've never taken it to the track, but it hauls. This has got a set of Summit heads and a big camshaft and a junkyard small block motor that Zach's dad had laying around. And guess what? It sounds awesome. I'll show you in a minute, I hope. I hit this main fuel feed. See if we can get this thing fired up and drive it under its own power out of the way of our V12. We're gonna try to stick it in that Foxbody Mustang. Getting, you know, just your average run-of-the-mill Aston Martin V12 into a 90s hatchback Mustang. It's still spitting out the factory shipping fluid, so
That's my favorite.
not the good stuff. We're gonna pump some actual gasoline through it and see if it fires up. All I was finding is a cup of coffee and a stale sizzly, and getting to watch firsthand a fist fight between a off-duty nurse and I don't know some dude they called her cute. That sounds perfect for Philadelphia. All right, we had to steal some juice from my Cutlass. Another soon-to-be project, hopefully. Ready? Here we go. Ignition, fuel. Okay, so now we stole the battery out of the Cutlass, put it in. Hey, that's more like it. Wish I had a throttle pedal. There we go.
Forgot how loud it was.
Here we go. Still runs instantly. I'm gonna put a little, just a touch of idle screw in this thing, but man, sounds good. If you notice, the exhaust is 15 inches long and it just shoots out here at the fenders. Those are. I'll try to fire it up and then run to the front. Keep it running. Here we go. Come on! Keep going! Barb, you were here the whole time. Right, big pump, bud.
Thought you were putting more screw in it.
I put quite a bit in it, but it's going to be crazy once it's warmed up. It's got no choke of any kind, so.
Nah.
It sounds pretty great. It's loud and smoky, but man, right to life. She sounds good. All right, we decided to push this RX7 back, but at least we made it run. That feels like a win. I'm going into the V12. I haven't seen this thing in about a year.
I'm getting fired up already here.
That's like one big block of aluminum, buddy. On half a pallet. See what happens.
Yeah.
There she is. Clear off this strap.
This arrangement here is pretty special.
Massive, dude. This thing is massive. Oh, this here? Yeah. Oh, look, the hook at the end? Smart. Way to go, me from a year and a half ago.
Look at those manifolds.
Pretty sick, actually.
They are pretty sick.
3 into 2, or 3 into 1. There's 2 of them into 1. I don't know what you call that, but I like
6 into 2 into 1. I think.
it. Sure.
Right?
In here. Ugh, there's the Mustang. Let's see if we get this V12 in this bad boy. I'll come around here because Barb broke the door handle off the other side.
Yep. Blame it on the Mustang guy.
You should know. All right. Hood. There you go. That one. Exposed giant cavern.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, plenty of space.
I wouldn't call it plenty, but we got something. Brake booster looks suspect just right off the bat. Shock towers will probably live. I don't know. That thing is gigantic. So, let's get it up. See what we can do about it. We got the hood off the Mustang, and we're going to start cramming that V12 in here just to see what it looks like. The V8s that came in these cars had a kind of a weird double sump oil pan. Some in the back, some in the front, and it would span over top of the K member, which has the steering rack, and then of course there's this giant sway bar in the front too. So I think we can get away hopefully with either committing to a front or a rear sump, depending on what we need, which is a nice touch. There's not a whole lot going on across the front of this car, just right here, which is the K member that is supporting the engine and the steering rack, which is not bad. We'll lose that or relocate that sway bar as needed. That's not the end of the world.
Forecasters, yeah.
Just pop it on in there. Give it a shove. It's very large.
Okay, so that's as far in as we're gonna go.
Okay, start lowering it.
Yep.
And you get a lot of backwards motion from the boom.
Yep. Hold on, I'm into the bottom here. Okay.
It's like there's slim to no chance this is gonna fit in there anyway. Come on. Okay, stop. You gotta go slower than that. Okay, hold up. You have to go up. Okay. Yeah.
You ready?
Please go slowly. Remember I said please. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. What's
Okay.
it? What's it?
Brake
Everything?
lines. Everything.
Okay, come on. Let's try to get it past it a little bit.
Oi. Ready?
I'm terrified. Yes, slowly, please.
Slow and slow.
Whose idea was this? It's... Oh my god. Go ahead. Oh, the alternator is touching the headlights.
On your headlights. Alright. Let me take a step back and admire this real quick.
Jeez, that's a lot of motor.
That is...
Man, this is gonna be so much work. Man, I thought it would just fall in there.
What earth are you on?
I'm just kidding. I knew it would be a pain in the butt. I knew it would be a pain in the butt, but
I mean, it can easily come back 6 inches, 5 inches.
yeah, if you get rid of the brake booster,
Yeah.
sure. There. Okay, so these are some points of interference as I see them. The entire brake system with the brake booster, master cylinder, etc. These headers are never going to clear that subframe. This thing's got to go back a lot. I think these will probably smash into the shock towers. These intake elbows don't really have a chance in hell of doing anything. It's going to be a lot of work. But
We're gonna need a bigger whiteboard, I think.
yeah, we're going to need a big old whiteboard. A lot of check marks on this one. Why did we get a Mustang? Okay, cool. I'm in. I'm back in. The motor itself is gonna fit. I can see that from here. The intakes are gonna need some convincing. We're definitely gonna need to make headers. I think if we make headers, we move these throttle bodies, we go complete manual brake system or
Hydro boost.
hydro boost, we might have a shot at this. All right, it's quite a laundry list of things. I'm gonna get a pad and paper and start writing stuff, and then we're gonna figure this out. We are putting 15 pounds of junk in a 5-pound bucket, but I'm kind of excited about it. Something about seeing those 12 runners on top of this Mustang
It's pretty
actually
wild.
is pretty cool. All right, well, we have a huge list of things to get cracking on. That is it for this episode. Stay tuned. We're gonna start rocking and rolling as soon as we get this thing back over to the real shop, and we are just gonna get cutting, grinding, measuring, cutting again. All right, thanks for watching. I'm super excited about this project. This is my first Mustang. Mustang guys, every time we built a car in HRG with a Mustang, there's all sorts of Mustang guys fighting in the comments. Let's keep it clean this time, because I'm excited about this project. I don't think anybody's ever done anything like this. It's gonna be an awesome DIY American GT V12 tourer. What's not to like? Except Barb. Well, Barb broke the door handle, but besides that. Okay.